a time there was truth in journalism, where brave men and women gave voice to the voiceless. But then the corporations bought the journalist, poisoning the news that we are fed. With those tainted sources, all we ever ate was a steady diet of status quo. This hijacked narrative hid the truth of mass suffering, injustice and corruption throughout our land. Status quo, status quo, status quo, status quo. To expose this shift to oligarchy came a band of honest journalists. They left the studio and hit the streets to give the microphone back to the people. From sea to sea, the people were empowered to share their truth. Their voices no longer stifled, reclaimed their power. Join the media revolution now.
Hey there, Jordan Chariton, live on a, Thursday, November 21st, 2019. Hope everyone's doing well from my parents' kitchen. I tried to go live last night, but had some internet issues. Fortunately, we are hooking up a Ethernet connection in the next few days, so I will be able to go live without an issue any time of the day. Apologize for the issue last night. Kind of for the next few months, if you haven't seen or heard me say it yet, kind of going to be all over the place a little bit of a nomad. My lady and I are moving in together, so until then, I'm trying to save some money, since frankly I've put a lot of my money into this media revolution. So going to be kind of bopping around between different places, but apologies for last night. That's why I wanted to go live this morning, because a lot to discuss as far as the debate last night and what it means going forward. I will not be mincing any words at all, and frankly, some of you might not like what I have to say, but can't have our Bernie blinders on all the time, right? So this is not my normal time. I'm also going to try to go live later at my normal time of 5 o'clock Eastern time. So definitely spread the word, press the share button, and also do all the usual. Press the like button right now. 120 people watching at 11:30 a.m. Eastern time. That would be 8:30 Pacific. Got to get the likes up. So we got 70 likes. 120 of you are watching. Keep smashing that like button. More people that press like, the more people that will see. I have good news and bad news. The members call that was scheduled for tonight is being moved. We are moving it to Tuesday, November 26th, I believe. Tonight just didn't work out because the story that Jen and I are working on, that we've been talking to you about, is really getting bonkers. I actually have a call right after this live stream with Jen on that story with the outlet we're working on it for, and we honestly, I was watching the debate while working on the story. So we are going to be working probably till 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock on the story. I hope you understand. It's a major story. And I hope you will be flexible with us. But we definitely are going to have our members call next Tuesday. So that would be, I believe, the 26th. So sorry if you had your hopes up for tonight. Definitely next Tuesday. Faux show. So let's get to the debate. I didn't put it in the headline. But honestly, I tweeted about it. Oh, and we also sent out a text alert. So make sure you are on our text alert system. All you got to do to join our text alert is dial 474747. That would be 474747 and type in COUP, COUP, to join our text alert system. Super, super, super important. Super, super, super important. We're trying to get around the YouTube suppression because there's a lot of suppression going on, as you know. So, I didn't put it in the headline, but when are journalists going to start doing their job and stating the obvious? Somebody, please, other than me, state the obvious that Joe Biden is not cognitively well. I don't say that because I don't share his politics. I don't say that because I wish him anything bad. I don't say that because I'm trying to get clicks or go viral. I say that because the man is clearly in front of our eyes, cognitively declining. Trust me, I've been saying it before, Michael Tracy, Meg. I mean, it's truly unbelievable. If you didn't see it, here we go.
How would you get those same Republicans to work with you?
Well, look, the next president of the United States is going to have to do two things. Defeat Donald Trump, that's number one. And number two, it's going to have to be able to go into states like Georgia and North Carolina and other places and get a Senate majority. That's what I'll do. You have to ask yourself up here, who is most likely to be able to win the nomination in the first place, to win the presidency in the first place? And secondly, who is most likely to increase the number of people who are Democrats in the House and in the Senate? And by the way, I learned something about these impeachment trials. I learned, number one, that Donald Trump doesn't want me to be the nominee. That's pretty clear. He held up aid to make sure that while at the same time innocent people in the Donbass are being killed by Russian soldiers. Secondly, I found out that Vladimir Putin doesn't want me to be president. So I've learned a lot about these things early on from these hearings that they're being held. But the bottom line is, I think we have to ask ourselves the honest question: who is most likely to do what needs to be done? Produce a Democratic majority in the United States Senate, maintain the House, and beat Trump. Doesn't want me to be president. So
Oh, can I state the obvious, folks? Can I state the obvious? And again, I want to be very clear. This is not to tease Joe Biden. This is not to play politics, to get clicks, to go viral. I am a journalist. I have eyes, and it is my job to state what we see in front of us. Whether you want to attribute it to old age, whether you want to attribute it to something else. I'm not going to play internet doctor. That's not appropriate. We don't do diagnoses. Joe Biden is clearly declining mentally. And if the Democratic Party's main goal, we got to bring in Michael Bloomberg, we got to bring in Deval Patrick, who's next, Jeff Bezos? If the main goal is to defeat Donald Trump, and by the way, this is a super chat. This is a super chat. Let me know if you're feeling super at 11:30 in the morning. If the main goal is to defeat Donald Trump, you're going to put somebody up who is essentially one moment away from combusting in front of our eyes against one of the most skilled snakes politically in American history. You could say a lot of things about Donald Trump. Obviously, there's hearings going on. Obviously, he's corrupt. I personally think he should be impeached for many things, including the Ukraine thing. But he's a damn good salesman. He's a damn good marketer. He's an expert on reverse psychology. He's an expert on canceling out your attacks with deflection. And he's not yet stumbling and mumbling through all of his points. By the way, to state the obvious, if Bernie Sanders was stuttering If Bernie Sanders was pausing, clearly losing his train of thought, if Bernie Sanders was, frankly, falling apart mentally in front of our eyes on a debate stage, MSNBC would be bringing in health experts, would be bringing in doctors, CNN would be bringing in Sanjay Gupta. They would not only be telling him to drop out of the presidential race, they would not only be telling him to drop out as a senator, they would be recommending which nursing home he should go to. I don't say that humorously. This is the truth. But and by the way, this is not my opinion. I have spoken with, at least at this point, 4 or 5 journalists who work for corporate media outlets. They are all talking about this behind the scenes. They are all talking about this. This is what's being chattered about at these debates. But not one will dare say anything on air or in print. Thank you for the super chat, Kelly Elaine. Glad to see you this morning. Love the text message. I am wired. I just had my iced coffee. I actually slept decent. So you got... And by the way, I'm glad you love the text message, Kelly Elaine. Jen just explained to me how expensive it is to have these text message systems. So we definitely need to build our membership. Statuscoup.com/join. Become a member. Actually, we're now at 738. We got to grow. Having this text alert system ain't cheap. Jen will explain it when she's in the super chat. She's in and out of the super chat because she's working on the story. Kathy Lloyd, $20 with an awesome sticker. You can now do super chat stickers. Epic fail, Joe Biden. Obi Alfred, $4.99 in the super chat. It's insane how people ignore Biden's mental decline. He couldn't get a sentence across. Painful to watch. And by the way, we're going to get to the actual points of the debate because there's plenty to talk about. By the way, I don't want to be insensitive. It's time for Joe Biden's family to step in here. It's time for Joe Biden's campaign to step in here. His loved ones, his friends. I'm not saying he has a actual cognitive illness. I am not a doctor. I'm not going to play one on the internet in my parents' kitchen to get clicks. But do you really want your husband or your father or your whatever to essentially, for his legacy, which I think is a terrible legacy, but they don't, to be remembered for literally, if he's the nominee, losing to Donald Trump because he basically was falling apart due to old age and health? Because if Joe Biden is standing on a stage, for those of you that just came in and were a little late, sorry, I got to play it one more time. I mean, this was right out of the gate.
How would you get those same Republicans to work with you?
Well, look, the next president of the United States is going to have to do 2 things. Defeat Donald Trump. That's number 1. And number 2, it's going to have to be able to go into states like Georgia and North Carolina and other places and get a Senate majority. That's what I'll do. You have to ask yourself up here, who is most likely to be able to win the nomination in the first place, to win the presidency in the first place? And secondly, who is most likely to increase the number of people who are Democrats in the House and in the Senate? And by the way, I learned something about these impeachment trials. I learned, number 1, that Donald Trump doesn't want me to be the nominee. That's pretty clear. He held up aid to make sure that while at the same time innocent people in the Donbass are being killed by Russian soldiers. Secondly, I found out that Vladimir Putin doesn't want me to be president. So I've learned a lot about these things early on from these hearings that are being held. But the bottom line is, I think we have to ask ourselves the honest question: who is most likely to do what needs to be done? Produce a Democratic majority in the United States Senate, maintain the House, and beat Trump.
3 seconds is all it took. 3 seconds is all it took for this man to start stuttering and mumbling. This is not, everyone's different, obviously, but you got somebody the same exact age right next to him who's not having these mental struggles. So if he is talking and performing this way in November 2019, for those of you that are older, I'm not trying to be difficult. And some of you say, Jordan, stop being nice. Why I'm trying to preface this in a professional, nice way is I'm not trying to come across, just as trying to get clicks or trying to just because I don't like Joe Biden. I would honestly say that if Bernie Sanders was having the same issue. I'm saying this because if the goal is to defeat Donald Trump, cognitive decline, in a lot of cases, it happens relatively quick. If he's struggling this way in November 2019, how do you think he's going to perform almost a year later in October 2020 in 3 debates against whether you like him or not, one of the most skilled snakes and politicians in American history? You think Hillary Clinton's defeat to Donald Trump was something? Wait till Joe Biden loses. So that's what I have to say about Joe Biden. We got 300 people watching. 160 of you have pressed that like button. Make sure you smash that like button. We need 150 more likes. And to answer your question, somebody just wrote, Andreas, after 30 minutes, I got a notification. Finally, Andreas, that's why we set up the text alert system. People on our text list got a notification right when we go live. Join us now. Every one of you got to join. Text 474747. All you got to do, go to your text message, type in 474747, and then in the body of the text, type coup, and you will be added to our text alert system. This is a way we're getting around the delayed notifications and YouTube fudgery, shall we say. So do it now. We're not the CIA. We cannot spy on you. We cannot hack your information. We're not going to text you all the time because apparently Jen is telling me it's super expensive to even have this text system, but we got to get around this suppression. So I'm going to get to Bernie Sanders, and you guys aren't going to like it, but I got to be honest. Also, we're live on Twitch. Thank you, Michael. I forgot. We are live on Twitch right now. That's twitch.tv/statuscoup in the house. We are live on Twitch, and we're trying to grow there too, because there might come a day, frankly, that YouTube kicks us to the curb. So we want to be prepared. It's Kai, Status Coup. You really don't need to spend dollars on a text alert system. Just use Discord and Telegram, where we are talking to somebody about setting up a Discord. We're on it. You also have to understand, Jan and I have been working for 2 months now on a massive, massive investigative story. We're trying our best to do everything at once, but we're understaffed. So join us so we can hire more people. Statuscoup.com/join. So before I get to Bernie, I just have to say we need to stop calling these things debates, because MSNBC and the Washington Post had somebody on there. Yes, I know Twitch is owned by Amazon. I can't control the world. As of now, Twitch isn't suppressing outlets, so I got to go there. There's only so many outlets I could go, and we could go, and Twitch, right, as of now, is not suppressing people the way YouTube is. So, MSNBC, let's start with Elizabeth Warren. And I'm not going to play the clip, because if I play the clip, my internet, the more stuff I have loaded, we're going to get this better in a few days, because I'm setting up Ethernet and wired where I am. Susan got the text alert. Great. MSNBC, after Elizabeth Warren, anyone who knows politics, after Elizabeth Warren basically completed her step-by-step, month-by-month moonwalk, MSNBC asks her a question basically framed as, Senator Warren, you're for Medicare for all, and your plan is Medicare for all, but Obama, the Democrats ran in 2018 on expanding Obamacare, and they won. And that message seems to be more appealing to voters than Medicare for all. So, there's multiple lies in that one question. So again, you can't call these questions and you can't call them debates, because the moderators, which in this case were 4 women, terrific, but they're 4 propagandists. So first of all, she's not for Medicare for all anymore. but the media is trying to prop her up still. And all you got to do is look at, by the numbers, I mean, look who got the most time. That's Elizabeth Warren, got 13 minutes and 23 seconds, followed by Mayor Pee Wee Herman, 12 minutes and 44 seconds, followed by stumbling, mumbling Joe Biden at 12:35. Bernie, 11. This is the second debate in a row. Elizabeth Warren got the most time to talk. So, she's not for Medicare for all. She is for now pushing a public option within 100 days, which, by the way, they're not even asking her, how are you going to do that? That's not something you could do by executive order. And a public option, by the way, is not some easy thing to get through. Just like Medicare for all is not some easy thing to get through. So she is now proposing a public option in year one. I'm going to, cut around the edges, lower prescription drugs, blah, 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 blah. And then in year 3, I'll actually try to pass Medicare for all. Anyone who knows politics knows this is not going to happen. Anyone who knows politics, I think her plan said she's going to ask Congress to enact Medicare for all in year 3. Yes, Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer will just say, yes, President Warren, whatever you say, whatever you want. The insurance companies, the healthcare companies, they'll just part the political Red Seas and pass it. So MSNBC basically, in their question, lied. They lied. They pretended that Elizabeth Warren is still for Medicare for all, and as such, she did not have to answer for her moonwalk. And frankly, and you're not going to like it, but I'm not a Bernie sycophant here. I think Bernie Sanders continued his pattern, which, if he loses, this is why he's going to lose, of coming out guns a-blazing, figuratively, in one debate, and then the next debate just being there. And I know. People are going to say, well, Jordan, they didn't give him any time to talk. Well, Jordan, he's just waiting for the field to narrow. There's less than 3 months before Iowa. How long are you going to wait? The next debate is December 19th, folks. The debates after that have not been named, where they are and what the dates are. The next debate on December 19th, probably, this one had 10, will probably still have 6 or 7 candidates. How long is Bernie Sanders going to wait to throw elbows every debate? Because he should have not waited for MSNBC to ask him. He should have, in his answer, pointed out, respectfully, although the moderators didn't ask, my friend here, Senator Warren, she said she was with me. But she is now not for passing Medicare for all right out of the gate. Bernie Sanders is not fighting mentally like he is in a street fight for the presidency. He still wants to have these niceties. He still wants to be diplomatic. He still, is embracing old school politics of, my friend, the senator over here, blah, blah, blah. Bernie, she's not genuine about Medicare for all. You clearly know this. He did not have to hammer her over the head, but when MSNBC lobbed the softball at her, pretending she is still for Medicare for all, that's when you raise your hand, and if they don't call on you, you get in there. That was the opportunity for Bernie to say, I sincerely respect my friend Elizabeth Warren. She's a terrific senator, but we need to set the record here. I am the only candidate on stage proposing on day one a Medicare for all single-payer program. My friend over here, Senator Warren, who months ago said she's with me, is now proposing something significantly different, which is not Medicare for all. And she says she's going to pass Medicare for all in the 3rd year, which, frankly, is problematic. And then you set up, yes, a contrast, a fight. Kathy Lloyd, he did raise his hand and they bypassed him. Kathy, take off your Bernie blinders for a minute. If Bernie Sanders wanted to throw down, he would have thrown down. And trust me, the MSNBC moderators, they want sensationalism. They want to fight, and they would have loved Bernie and Warren to go together, to go at it. But what Bernie has to understand, and I think his team understands from people I've spoken with, The truth is not going to get out from the moderators. The truth is not going to get out from Rachel Maddow. They are not going to push Rachel Maddow on moonwalking against Medicare for All because they are there to preserve Warren, Biden, and Buttigieg, which we're not even going to get to Buttigieg yet. So if Bernie doesn't insert himself, if Bernie doesn't draw that contrast, then the fairly significant number of people that are kind of in between Bernie and Warren, they don't have the contrast. They don't know. So this is not only, by the way, because, I tend to be a more aggressive person or I want to fight. It's not about that. This is how you win. I think Bernie Sanders, although he did not win the 2016 primary, had opportunities to win. He had opportunities, and I know it was stolen from him, but I'm talking about during the debates. He had opportunities to hammer Hillary Clinton over the head. Figuratively, not literally. And he chose not to. So if we want to sit here and be Bernie bros and gals, because there are, by the way, there are people in the progressive media space that do not tend to criticize Bernie Sanders because they want to interview him and they want to be in good stead with the campaign. I don't give a damn. He hasn't given me an interview when I was at the Young Turks. I don't know if he's going to give me an interview anytime soon, but I'm just going to keep it real. Because this notion that, he just doesn't have time. He didn't have time. They barely called on him. He's waiting till the field narrows. People start paying attention right before Iowa around Christmas time. I'm talking about people that aren't diehard into politics like you and I and Jen. Okay? The general electorate start paying attention to the primaries closer to like a month before Iowa. So the next debate is December 19th. I think Buttigieg is going to be in that debate. Biden, Warren, Bernie, Kamala Harris, that's 5. Andrew Yang, that's 6. As it stands right now, probably Amy Klobuchar, that's 7. I think Booker is gone. I think Tom Steyer is gone. I don't think he could buy his way on that debate. Tulsi Gabbard, I don't think is going to make the next debate. Who am I missing? Yeah. There's still going to be 7 people. Possibly 8 if Booker doesn't drop out. Kamala Harris is going to make the debate stage. I believe Amy Klobuchar will make the debate stage. So, Upstate Raider, Bernie is winning. Stop hitting panic. No, Upstate Raider, you're not getting it. And save this video. Bernie's not winning. Joe Biden, through all his stumbling and all his mumbling, has kept a healthy lead in a lot of these polls and in national polls. And Bernie's biggest opportunity is twofold. He's got to pick off some of those Biden supporters that are natural for him, meaning people making $50,000 or less, or people with just high school degrees. Biden has a lot of those voters. They are the crossover voters. If they leave Biden, they're going to Bernie. That's the working class. They're not going to Warren. But he barely laid a glove on Biden either. He said the same thing on Iraq that he said in the last debate. That was it. And Bernie's other opportunity is to take people that have left him for Warren. These niceties are not going to get it done. Bernie, he's gone down a little bit. Now he's gone up. But he's basically hovered around the same national polling between, I'd say, 17 to 22% in national polls. If you continue to stay steady, where Joe Biden still has a significant lead, there's got to come an opportunity where that steadiness, you get closer to Joe Biden. And the only opportunity you have for that are debates or a Biden stumble. That's it. Debates or Biden stumble. Yes, I think there is an unforeseen Bernie vote that's not reflected in these polls. I think his campaign is doing terrific on-the-ground canvassing, bringing out new voters, younger voters, this and that. But at the end of the day, people respond, and the most attention paid to these primaries are during the debates. So I love Bernie Sanders. I think he'd be the best president we've ever had. But I'm just talking practically. The whole, well, they're not calling on him. Well, there's too many people on stage. When they do call on him, and they did call on him, they asked him, you're talking about a political revolution here. Well, Barack Obama is saying this country doesn't need a revolution. He could have said, I will answer that, but I just want to point out, although she's a dear friend of mine, I am the only person on stage. You don't have to be called on specifically to respond to Elizabeth Warren. There are ways to get it in, but he's choosing not to. And he's also choosing not to. He's also choosing not to go after Biden aggressively. And I don't understand why. I really don't. I have been told for 4 years now, yeah, give it some time. He's going to go after Hillary. Never did. Aggressively. And now we're being told the last debate, he was a completely different person in terms of fighting than this debate. Maybe it's because he had just had a heart attack. Maybe he had to show people that he was lively and vibrant. But he was back to basically the version of Bernie that goes after Biden an hour and a half into the debate. And by the way, breaking news, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu to face bribery, charged with bribery and fraud charges. My father is not going to be happy. He's a big Zionist Netanyahu fan. But Netanyahu's terrible. So I'm happy. So that's breaking news. Former Prime Minister, oh no, is he still Prime? I think he's still Prime Minister. Benjamin Netanyahu charged with bribery, fraud, and breach of trust in Israel. So, good news. So listen, by the way, Paul, one of our viewer moderators, I'm not panicking. I'm not saying Bernie Sanders not doing what I'm proposing, he's lost. What I am saying is, if you take, and it's hard, but if you take away your support for the man, and you just look at it practically, you're not going to get, there might never be a point before Iowa that it's just Warren, Biden, Bernie. I think at the least you're going to have 4 or 5 candidates on that stage. Biden is going to be there unless something happens health-wise. Warren is going to be there. Pete Buttigieg, which I'm about to get to him, is going to be there. He's funded for it. The media has basically created him, and he's going to be there. Kamala Harris, I think she's going to be there. She's funded for it. She had a couple good moments last night. So they're not shrinking the field enough for this contrast. And I heard Bernie, one of his aides, went on with The Hill last night and said, we're just waiting for the field to narrow. Well, I don't know how much you guys think it's going to narrow. And I would love to be wrong. But I just feel like we're getting deja vu from 2016. And the bottom line is, people love a fighter. The difference between Bernie Sanders and Kamala Harris? Kamala Harris, when she went after Biden in that first debate and she had a polling surge, she didn't know what to do with it. And she dropped the ball after that. If Bernie Sanders starts fighting, he's going to have a polling surge. And he will capitalize on it. Jen dies in the private text. I think you're missing that people already see Bernie as being aggressive simply for existing as a Brooklyn Jew. So him being aggressive has to be carefully done, or he will be killed in the media, and perception is everything. I see your point, Jen, co-founder of Status Coup. But the bottom line is, it doesn't really matter. Whether Bernie's nice or whether Bernie's aggressive, the media is going to go after him anyway. It's not about what the media moderators think. It's not about what the pundits think. It's about what the people watching the debate think. And by the way, in my later live stream today, we're going to get to how out of touch the media is. Chris Matthews, I tweeted it already. But it doesn't matter if he is a nice guy saying, my friend over here, my friend over here, my friend over here. Doesn't matter what the media says. They will not spin the viewers, because the viewers who tune in are not for debates, do not watch. A lot of them do not watch as closely as we do. They just pop in and out for debates. My mom, for example, does not watch politics hardcore. She watched a little bit of the debate. So Bernie's going to lose with the media whether he, offers, milk and cookies or he goes after Biden or whatever. So it doesn't really matter. Viewers respond, and Bernie could have very diplomatically said, I am the only one for Medicare for all on this stage. I respect Senator Warren, but she has a new plan that does not fight for Medicare for all until year 3. And frankly, the way she proposes to pay for it will lead to people losing their jobs. That's it. Do you want to be friends or do you want to be president? Because at this point, you can't do both. Also, why is nobody, and this is Bernie Sanders, Joe Biden sitting up there, restore the soul of America. We fight. He literally is doing more fundraisers than campaign events. He is literally doing more private fundraisers in mansions than campaign speeches. Where is Bernie Sanders on that? So you guys might say, Jordan, you're too critical, this and that. I'm not here to be a Bernie sicko fan. I personally like him, but I do political reporting and analysis, and the analysis is he's not fighting the way he should. Sorry. And I think it is naive to think he's pacing himself. He's going to wait. The next debate, again, I think it's going to be at minimum 7 people, possibly 8 or 9. The field's not going to be narrowed by December 19th. The debates after that, at the minimum, before Iowa, I think you're going to have 5 people on the debate stage. So, which brings me to Pete Buttigieg. Got 400 people watching, 255 likes. Can I get 150 more of you to kindly press the thumbs up button? Janet Kelton, I think you're in the political bubble, Jordan. No, I'm in my parents' kitchen. But I respect your opinion. I'm not in a bubble, I'm in a kitchen. But I don't think I'm in a political bubble because this is not just my opinion. In 2016, when I was at the Young Turks, now, I have spoken with people on Bernie's campaign. I have spoken with people who work in politics. This is not just my thought. Many people, and I just saw a video from The Hill, basically saying the same thing, a little bit lower temperature than I'm saying. He's not fighting in these debates. He's being too diplomatic. So, whatever. But I respect your opinion, and feel free to leave a super chat, even if you're mad at me for my opinion. Pete Buttigieg, honestly, this is getting to a point of complete and utter... Essentially, he's a corporate creation. This is getting to a point of such utter embarrassment and shame that I frankly think there needs to be, dare I say, nonviolent protest. Pete Buttigieg has no qualifications to be president. I have done several videos on the mess he has created in a very small city. I'm not knocking small town mayors. That's fine if you're a small town mayor. Crime has gone up. Gentrification is run amok there. Black and brown people have been left essentially to die, particularly the homeless. I just did an interview with a resident. He wants to literally be commander-in-chief, run a country of 330 million people. The man literally cannot ensure that there is homeless shelter in the winter during the day, that there is shelter for the homeless. He, frankly, has covered up a police recording that was making derogative comments about a black police officer. He has done nothing about a white police officer killing an unarmed black man. The list goes on. This is just in his city. When he ran statewide, he lost by 25 points. He has no qualifications to run for president. I think it would have to be questioned whether he has the qualifications to run for governor of Indiana. This hoity-toity, grandiose talk. We need to bring people together. I started paying attention to politics around the time of the 2003 Iraq War and the 2004 election. Since I started paying attention, John Kerry spoke about bringing the country together. We're sharply divided. Barack Obama talked about bringing the country together. We're sharply divided. Hillary Clinton spoke about bringing the country together. We're stronger together, blah, 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 blah. Mitt Romney talked about bringing the country together, even though behind the scenes he was saying 47% of you are moochers and scum. Every single candidate talks about we need to bring the country together. It doesn't mean anything. This country was founded on being divided. Okay? I don't want to be a negative, cynical Susie, but you want to bring people together? Go to a dog park. Okay? You know what brings people together? Being healthy. You know what brings people together? Having education. You know what brings people together? Ending mass incarceration and criminalizing nonviolent drugs. Thank you, Jennifer, for defending me. I don't live in a bubble. I go around the country. So, people can be brought together if there's an investment in people. If there's an investment in humanity. There's less division when people aren't economically desperate. There's less division when people aren't economically furious. That's how we got Donald Trump. There's less division when people aren't working 3 to 4 jobs, which causes resentment. Pete Buttigieg is basically running on all of these poll-tested, consultant-driven, corporate media-crafted nonsense talking points that have nothing behind it. He has a Frederick Douglass plan when he's literally telling in South Bend, Indiana, a black resident who's critical of him, I'm not asking for your vote. A Frederick Douglass plan, he's at 0% in the black community. Can you imagine if Bernie Sanders was leading in a poll in Iowa or New Hampshire, but had 0%? They'd be calling for him to drop out. Henry Volt, 35, $5 in the super chat. I'm pissed off about Pete. They brought up his recent scandal for faking a Black Carolina support just not to call him out. That is some bull. Henry, they actually didn't, which I'm going to get to in a minute. Thank you, Nathaniel, $1.99. Of course there was nothing about labor organizing. This man, the videos came out where he was playing footsie with the Tea Party in 2010. Pete Buttigieg is basically, if you threw Hillary Clinton, Barack Obama, and Newt Gingrich into a bowl and just chopped it up. He is ambition. He was mayor of South Bend and in 2017 ran for DNC chair. Residents in South Bend said they barely saw him because he was going around running for DNC chair. I'm not knocking politicians who have ambition. They all have ambition. But there's ambition to do the right thing, and then there's ambition because you want power. Pete Buttigieg, he's going to bring the country together? Go to South Bend, Indiana. If Status Quo had the money, we would be in South Bend, Indiana to show the truth. Hint, hint. statusquo.com/join. You become a member for as low as a cup of coffee a month. That's $5 a month. Also have other plans. statusquo.com/join. This man is the mayor of a divided small city. He has gentrified the city so it looks very nice for 10 blocks. Yeah, if you're watching from San Francisco, Seattle, if you're watching from Los Angeles, Chicago, Philadelphia, Atlanta, Cleveland, New York City, Boston, the list goes on. How's that gentrification working for you? It is gotta do it. Sorry, Jen. It is unfathomable fucking believable that this man is on a presidential debate stage. Andrew Yang has more qualifications for him, having never run. Tom Steyer, who I disdain, has more qualifications. And I believe that this man, if he became the nominee, which would be just unreal, would probably go down in flames. Because when you are a media manufactured mannequin, eventually people start poking and they realize you're lifeless. Maybe I should go live in the morning because I'm fired up, baby. And then we go to, and by the way, this is just political malpractice. Bernie Sanders and everyone on that stage. How is it that Pete Buttigieg is literally, great reporting from The Intercept, Ryan Grimm, is literally inventing support among black leaders in South Carolina? He's literally saying black leaders in South Carolina endorse him when they have never endorsed him. They don't endorse him. They don't endorse his plan. The media, and correct me if I'm wrong, kind of alluded to his issues with black people, but did not ask him. Mayor Buttigieg, recently you invented black support. And Kamala Harris, no idea why she held back her punch. Maybe she's afraid. Actually, I do know. Because those same donors that Kamala Harris is depending on to keep her in this race, they're also donating to Mayor Pee Wee Herman. And Kamala cannot bite the hand that feeds her. Those donors don't want her laying a glove on Mayor Pete. That's why. I just realized that too. Because it made no political sense. No, she didn't not lay a glove on him because he's gay. That's ridiculous. Him being gay has nothing to do with it. Ray Foley, $10. I was there with you and Jenny at Convergence Conference. Bernie has been playing chump, and that's going to happen. Jen, not Jenny, but yes. I'm not calling Bernie a chump, but he needs to... Listen, Bernie, this is your last go-around. You're 78, okay? This is a street fight for the presidency. You are up against the entire global oligarchy. Start acting like it. You're from Brooklyn. You don't start a sentence in Brooklyn, my friend over here. Robert James, I talked Biden in the beginning. Honestly, these people, and we need to speak truth here, because the media is, again, I started this. This is not a debate. This is just Rachel Maddow, Andrea Mitchell, Kirsten Walker, and what the heck was her name? Sarah Parker? Whoever the Washington Post journalist was. They are basically a super PAC posing as journalists for the establishment. That's why they framed Elizabeth Warren as still supporting Medicare for all when she doesn't. And that's why they did not lay a glove on Pete Buttigieg. And that's why, as Joe Biden is literally nearly comatose on stage, they quickly move off of him. Thank you very much. Joyce Miller, $20 in the super chat. We really appreciate the super chats. It's another great way we get more funding, and we definitely need more funding. So, Pete Buttigieg, honestly, the only thing I can think of is that these candidates didn't go after Pete Buttigieg because they don't want to offend the white people supporting him in Iowa and New Hampshire, and they want that white support. But contrary to the media, Iowa and New Hampshire is not the election. It's important to compete in Iowa and New Hampshire. I think for Bernie, it's important to win one of them. But the man's rise in Iowa and New Hampshire is due to the media. I promise you, the people of Iowa and New Hampshire, most of them don't read The Intercept. Most of them probably don't watch Status Quo. So, honestly, I think what you're seeing with Pete Buttigieg, and obviously we don't remember as much because it was a decade ago. I think this is even worse than what the media did with Barack Obama. At least Barack Obama was a senator. At least he was against the Iraq War. Right? At least he had some qualifications. Honestly, there are some strong mothers that are very influential in their PTAs that have more qualifications to run for president than this man. I'm not saying it because he's gay. I'm not saying it because he's a neoliberal. Excuse me. I'm not saying it because he's gay. I'm saying it because he's a neoliberal. And he's not even a convincing neoliberal. I think Pete Buttigieg is whatever the hell he has to be to win an election. He'll be a Republican if you need. And by the way, this disgusting display by MSNBC this morning, did you see this? Let's take a look at MSNBC and their absurd, sorry, screen's going black for a sec. Their absurd propaganda this morning to help Pete Buttigieg.
Your health care plan is Medicare for all who want it. Elizabeth Warren and Bernie Sanders is just straight up Medicare for all, including taking away private insurance from 160 million people. So let me ask you point blank, do you believe a candidate who runs on Medicare for all can win a general election in this country?
Certainly would be a tough sell because the American people want that choice. And by the way, that's not just general election voters, as we make sure we reach out to moderates and try to pull Republicans across the aisle, but also Democratic voters. Democrats as well, sitting at home, making health care decisions for our families, don't want to have that option taken off the table. The whole idea of Medicare for all who want it is we create that public alternative and let you decide. If enough people decide that's the right answer, then eventually it becomes Medicare for all. But there's some humility in the approach here because we recognize that instead of Washington deciding whether and when people should switch, we let people make that decision for themselves.
But as you know,
we've got to make sure.
Mr. Mayor, I was just going to, you live in the state of Indiana. There are a lot of people who believe that taking away private health insurance from unions, Rust Belt states, the kind of places you all need to win back, is a poison pill, and that there's no way to beat Donald Trump on that policy. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, you've got a lot of union members who negotiated a good plan and, by the way, often made concessions on wages in order to get a good health care plan. You got millions of seniors on Medicare Advantage plans, and we've got to make sure that we answer that central question that's on the mind of any voter sizing up a candidate, which is, how's my life going to be different if you become president versus the alternative? And if somebody feels like their choice is going to be taken away, that's a tough thing to answer for. Healthcare plan. You got millions of seniors on Medicare Advantage plans, and
Where do you even start? Where do you even start? First of all, Willie, I don't know if you have producers at MSNBC. I don't know if you got producers at MSNBC or researchers at MSNBC or, any help. I know you guys don't have a lot of resources over there at 30 Rock. Who won the state of Indiana in the Democratic primary? Oh, I'm sorry. Was that Bernie Sanders who won the Indiana primary? Right there. Was that Bernie Sanders who won by 5 points the Indiana primary? Yeah, it was. So the question to Pete Buttigieg, the candidate that MSNBC is manufacturing out of thin air, the question is, can Medicare for all win in Indiana or Michigan or these Midwestern states? Really, Pete, maybe Pete would know this since he's a mayor in the state. Bernie Sanders won the Indiana primary, and his signature policy was Medicare for all. Bernie Sanders won the Michigan primary, and his signature policy was Medicare for all. Bernie Sanders won the Wisconsin primary, and his signature policy was Medicare for all. Bernie Sanders almost won, lost by less than a point, the primary in red state Kentucky, and his signature policy was Medicare for all. Bernie Sanders almost won, lost by less than a point, the Missouri primary, and his signature policy was Medicare for all. I'm detecting a pattern here. Willie Geist is a corporate soldier, so he goes out there and puts out corporate talking points. Medicare for all, progressive policies are popular everywhere, not just in California and New York. Medicare for all and progressive policies are popular in the Midwest, which is not an alternate universe of moderates. If the Midwest was an alternate universe of moderates, guess what? We'd be talking about President Hillary Clinton right now. MSNBC is lying, and Pete Buttigieg is benefiting. And welcome to the Media Revolution. We just got a new member, Paul, signed up as a Status Quo member. We are now at 739. 739 Status Quo members. Can we get a couple more signups? Our members call rescheduled, for those of you that missed it, not going to be tonight, going to be Tuesday, November 26th. Jen and I are burning the midnight oil on this massive story we're working on, and tonight just wasn't going to work for both of us. So sorry about that, but we're definitely doing it Tuesday, November 26th, 2 days before Thanksgiving. So join us as a member today, and you will be invited to our members-only video call Tuesday, November 26th. Thank you for the super chat, Chris Garrett, $5. Medicare for all want it. Medicare for all who want it ultimately leads to the end of employer-sponsored plans. And by the way, Pete Buttigieg's, because every single expert says this, but of course MSNBC is propping up this nonsense. You can't have a single-payer program, because he's calling it Medicare for all who want it. You cannot have single-payer government option with private health insurance also offering the same exact duplicative coverage. By doing that, the single payer, the government option, doesn't work. You have to have everybody in. So there is a difference between countries like Canada and Denmark and Australia that have as the predominant provider the government, but they also do have private doctors that if you choose, you could go to private doctors. Private doctors are not an expansive private insurance industry. Those are two different things, right? So, for example, I go sometimes to a chiropractor. He doesn't take my insurance, but because he's a nice guy, I've gone to him for a while. We just have a deal. I pay him $40, which isn't cheap, but he does very good work. That's what can happen. He's not on my insurance program, which in a Medicare system would be single payer, the government, but I pay him whatever I pay him, and that's it. Pete Buttigieg isn't proposing that. Okay? Pete Buttigieg is proposing a phantom system, just like Kamala Harris is proposing a phantom system, just like Joe Biden is proposing a phantom system. Rap Brown, you're not wrong, Jordan, but Bernie leads nationally. No, he does not. That was one poll, and national polls don't really matter. The only polls you should be looking at are Iowa, New Hampshire, South Carolina, Nevada, and California, because national polls are national polls. You don't win nationally in a primary, you win state by state. You also don't win nationally in a general, you win state by state. So, I love you, Rap Brown. But Hillary Clinton was leading nationally, too. She ain't the president. Rafael Rodriguez, $5 in the super chat. How could Pete argue about choice? Private insurance is all about managing your choice. They, not you, choose the doctor, hospital, and the level of care. Rafael, thank you so much. Oh my God, I was thinking that last night and I didn't articulate it, and you just helped me. Thank you, Rafael. All these people talking about choice. You don't have a choice with private insurance. If private insurance was so wonderful, we wouldn't have 70% of Americans calling for Medicare for all. Private insurance, here's your choice. Pay the money that we say you owe or get denied the care. Obamacare did not end denial of care because you get denied care. For example, I just got a mouth guard that I'm picking up Saturday, okay, for sleep apnea. I hope it works. It's supposed to pull my lower jaw forward, open up my airway, and allow me to sleep. After paying $120 for 2 doctor's appointments, wonderful copays there of $60 a pop, then my insurance covered 60% of it, and I still owed $600 for this mouth guard. Thankfully, I have the savings to pay the $600. A lot of people don't. So guess what? If somebody else was in my situation and had to pay $600 for this mouth guard, guess what? They wouldn't get the mouth guard. Guess what? Sleep apnea, if untreated, can give you a heart attack, high blood pressure, diabetes, a lot of other things. And mine has been untreated for a long time. So guess what? I had a choice because I'm lucky enough that I had the money for savings. If I didn't have the money for savings, I'm lucky enough that I have a family who would have helped me out with it. The majority are not that lucky. So it's not a choice that Pete Buttigieg is proposing. B. Allen, hit the like button even if you don't like Jordan. Do it for Jen. Hey, what did I do? Sorry, am I a little too caffeinated this morning that you don't like me? So, thank you for that. That was a great point, whoever super chatted that, Raphael. So, bottom line, I think this is an embarrassment that this man is a front runner. I don't like Julian Castro, for example. He's another corporatist pretending to be progressive, but he's more qualified than Pete Buttigieg. I don't like Cory Booker, but he's more qualified. More corrupt too, but they're both corrupt. And honestly, if and when Donald Trump wins re-election, everybody should remember these debates and these periods in media where the media literally invented out of thin air a dime a dozen mayor who gentrified his city and basically created a tale of two cities for wealthy whites versus black people. The media basically created a manufactured mannequin, all to crowd the field so that a progressive wouldn't win. Because at the end of the day, folks, we know it. They would rather 4 more years of Donald Trump. Hey, hell, they'd rather 100 years of Donald Trump than 100 minutes of Bernie Sanders as president. And that's why, going back to it, Bernie needs to start coming to fight every debate. If not, I think he's going to lose. If you don't like it, sorry. I'm not. There are other channels that are just sycophants and will say whatever they want. Always support Bernie. I'm not going to do that. Ryan Corinth, $4.99. Pete rising in the polls shows how uninformed voters are and how unqualified the media is. I disagree on one part. The media is very qualified in propaganda. They're very qualified at that. David Righty, $5 in the super chat. Medicare for all is an all or nothing deal. Pete's plan is like sort of being pregnant or a little bit dead. Well, I don't know anything about being pregnant, but I agree. All right, folks, that's my morning live stream. I'm actually curious what people think. Janet, do you know how to do a poll in the super chat? I'd like to know if people like a morning version of Status Coup. That would be interesting if we start doing mornings, because I definitely have a little bit more energy right now than I do by 5 o'clock. Yes, it's manufacturing consent. So, a couple more PSAs. Again, ignore the graphic. We're rescheduling. It's Tuesday, November 26th, our monthly members call. Jen and I can't do it tonight. We're working on this story. So definitely sign up. Statuscoup.com/join. You can become a member for as low as a cup of coffee a month. That will be $5 a month. We also have other plans, so we welcome our $5 members, $10 members, $20 members, or $179 annually. Also remember, we are trying to grow our text alert system. So, join our text alert, which some of you got a text before we went live this morning. Text 474747 and type in COUP, C-O-U-P, and you will get added to our text alert. And also, of course, join our email list by going to statuscoup.com, statuscoup.com, enter your email. That is a major way we grow this thing. Jen, am I forgetting anything? Besides the fact that everybody should sign up as a member. If you got the $5 to $10 a month, if you don't, you don't. We get it. But if you have $5 to $10 a month, we think it's well spent on real independent journalism. Thank you for watching. I'm pretty sure I'm going to be live a little bit later from a different location, normal time. If I'm not, we'll let you know, but I'm pretty sure I'll be able to go live later. Thank you. Enjoyed this morning. I think I let off a little steam, I'd say. Peace out.